Yeah, it's the speaker, it's not the mic.
Hello. Check. Number 3. Page Isaac Morphicon to the white tension. We are officially live. Years 25. Beat. Maybe point is speaking towards the audience. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear us? So. Okay. So boring. Maybe we need to turn it up a little bit. All right. Okay, Jeff.
Yes. Hey guys, welcome to Power Morphicon Day 1. Day 1. We're back after 4 years. And you know what? We're going to do a panel about voice actors. So, welcome to Chilling with Voice Actors. So, I encountered 5 really awesome people to do this panel, and let me introduce you to them. To my left, we have Richard Cancino. Next to Richard, we have Derek Stephen Prince. We also have Alex Lang. We have Rebecca Forrestack. And last but certainly not least, we have Neil Kaplan. And most of these guys, or some of them, most of these guys have never done my panel. That's how long it's been since I've done one of these, but usually I like to start these panels off with asking my guests, what are some of the roles that people would know you best for? And then tell us about something that would make people's heads explode if they found out you were behind it. Richard, why don't we start with you?
Okay, I don't know if you know this, and some of you know. There's a series called Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah.
You know that? If you know that series, then I was Kenshin. Okay, and I've done some other things. In Digimon, I played a lot of the monsters. I can't even remember a lot of the names, but you stop by my booth, and I have pictures of all of them. Some of you have already seen them. I have no idea who they are. Okay, the only thing that might interest you, and I bet none of you... Okay, have any of you ever heard of an old movie star from the 40s called, her name was Rita Hayworth? Rita Hayworth was my aunt.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. You know that? Yeah. And, okay, this is going to further blow your socks off. My Aunt Rita, her uncle was, I called him Uncle Vinton. And this is there was an old TV show he called I Dream of Jeannie. Have you ever heard of that? What? You've heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think the last season, or the last couple of seasons, he played the general on I Dream of Jeannie. He was the bad guy on Zorro. If you ever,
Yes.
you guys know this? You're too young to know this.
It's called reruns, Richard.
Reruns. Okay, so Uncle Vinton was married to the aunt of Ginger Rogers. You all know who Ginger Rogers was? Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers. So, and then my father's brother, there were 3. There were Rita, my Uncle Ed, and my dad. Those are the 3 kids. My Uncle Ed was married to a woman whose cousin was Donna Reed.
Oh.
So I come from this showbiz family. Yeah, I ended up here. Let's see. Uri Yoshida from Bleach. The Digimon Emperor and Leemon from season 2 of Digimon Adventure 2. And Vexen from Kingdom Hearts, I guess, or some...
Vexen?
Oh yeah, Elgar from Power Rangers. Turbo and in space. Two little fun facts. These two gentlemen on each side of me were all in variations of the same show. Richard already brought it up because Rurouni Kenshin. However, prior to Rurouni Kenshin was Samurai X, which you were also in. And in that show, I was Sansuke, and in Sanosuke, and in Rurouni Kenshin, you were Sanosuke.
That's right.
So, little fun fact.
And I was Kenshin in both
Yeah,
versions
you were Kenshin in both.
because I wasn't versatile enough to switch roles.
No, because you were...
That's what Lex told me.
You were just that awesome. So they had to hire you again.
For 90 plus episodes.
Right? Exactly. Last little, I guess, mind-blowing. You said mind-blowing fact.
Yes.
Didn't you? Okay, so, scary movie fans? Scary movie fans? Anybody? So if you remember Scary Movie 3, there were 2 aliens in it. I was the peeing alien.
Lex?
Hey everybody, let's see, I'm Lex Lang, and I've done about over 450 characters in the last 26 years, and some you might know are Sanosuke from Rurouni Kenshin, Dr. Neocortex from the Crash Bandicoot series, let's see, Jujutsu Kaisen, I play Sakura Geto. I've played Han Solo in a lot of different video games. I've done Poe Dameron in the Battlefront 2 games. I've played Batman, I've played Doctor Doom. And I've just been in a ton of games and things, and it's been totally awesome. Let's see, what would blow your mind? I don't have any famous relatives.
I only work with people.
Maybe, you know, one of the things I do as a voice actor is celebrity voice matching. And so what might blow your mind is I've done over 300 movies where I've voiced replacement lines or efforts or different lines for different celebrities, and hopefully you haven't noticed. Because that's what I get paid to do, is have you not noticed that I came in instead of the celebrity. So that's kind of one. And aside from that, that's it. My father was born in Paris, France. My mother was born in Casablanca, North Africa. So I am a first generation European and African American, oddly enough. And that blew your mind, right? Okay, so that's enough for me, and I'm looking forward to having fun on the panel.
Yeah.
Becky.
Hey, I'm Rebecca Forstadt, and I'm the oldest one here. Like the old lady, I guess. I'm known for as Minmay in Robotech. Woo! Thank you. Mihoshi and Tenchimuyo. Woo! Thank you. Nunnally and Code Geass.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And a whole bunch of, well, I don't know, like a whole, I have to look myself up on the IMDb because I can't remember what I did. But I just found out that I played Fighting Flea in Power Rangers. I knew I played a monster, I just didn't know what his name was.
Well, you know, I forgot. In Power Rangers, hey, we're at the Power Morphicon. I played Rygog and Larigo in Power Rangers Turbo, and I played Ecliptor in Power Rangers in Space, and I played Zenaku in Wild Force. Okay, back to you.
Okay, my mind-blowing thing, I starred in a movie, or had a pretty large part in a movie starring Kate Mulgrew. The movie, like, kind of died, and you probably can't even find it anywhere, but I got to do some scenes with her. That was fun.
Neil.
Hello there. My name is Neil Kaplan. I go back to season 2
of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It took me a while to figure that out, but I was thinking about it one day, and the Power Ranger movie came on HBO, and I'm sitting there and thinking, oh, that would have been fun to work on. And then 14 seconds later, I heard my voice, I was like, oh, that was fun to work on. But I basically answered an ad in drama log, remember that? That's a word. I've not heard that name in a long time. Looking for voices for Power Rangers, and I answered the ad, and the late great Scott Page Pagger decided to add me to the troupe that Becky was already a part of, and I come back every 2 years basically to see friends that I don't see otherwise, quite frankly. You know, well, it used to be because we were in booths, now we're just working from home. You know, so it's a lot of fun. That basically launched my career from there. I worked on a little show called Digimon. You might know me as Hawkman, which was a great surprise for people when I got cast in the role of Optimus Prime. Because they thought they were going to get Autobots transform and go around. But sadly, I disappointed a lot of people. I've worked on shows like Naruto Shippuden. You might know me as the rather heroic Madara Uchiha. You know, I think today I've actually gone through and nobody's asked me to say, wake up to reality. Yet, but the day's still young. I've worked on video games like StarCraft 2. I'm Darius J. Finley. Hell, it's about time. Dominus Call from Destiny 2. The thing that I'm proudest of, and a lot of people won't be blown away by, but what the heck, is last summer, I got to do some voices on Star Wars Visions, and on one of the episodes, I did the opening narration. So me, being a 10-year-old nerd from 1977, sat there and went, you people don't understand, I'm the Crawl! Yeah, so that was one of my little moments that if you go to Coca-Cola World in Atlanta, you'll hear me as the Taste Buds. If you go to California Adventure here in Anaheim, you'll hear me as one of the many voices on the old-time radio in Oswald's. I was the narrator for the YA series, I Am Number 4, which for some reason I've been having lots and lots of 20-year-olds come up to me and say, I grew up listening to you, read me books. I've done commercials, I've done video games, I've done narration. If there's a voice, I've done it. And yes, I was even the voice of a Care Bear.
Now, the next question I like to ask people is, what was your very first job when you got into voice acting, and what was it like the first time you got to go into the booth? Richard?
Okay, my very first voice. You know, when you're an actor, you do a lot of different things, and if you do a movie or something, they call you in, and you say, well, there was a plane flying over our head, so we need you to come back and revoice what you said. And so I've done that before. But as far as anime and that sort of thing that we're here to talk about. Very first job I got was for a series called Soccer Boy. Have any of you ever heard of that? No. Soccer Boy. One person, way in the back. So actually, at the time, I was kind of broke, and I was painting houses and for a living, doing that kind of thing. One of the houses that I was painting was for a couple, Steve Kramer and Melora Hart. I don't know if you know who they are, but Kramer's directed and written just, I don't know what, at least 1,000 different shows.
And he was the voice of Darkonda.
Oh, was he? I didn't know. Anyway, I was in the process of painting Melora's house, and
the worst. I'm the worst painter. If I ever tell you I'm a good painter, just run. But I had been previously at a party, just a friend of mine had a party, and we were screwing around. And it was her birthday party. She got a gift, and she's an actress, and we were friends, and she knew I did a lot of different accents and dialects and things like that. So she said, Richard, read the instructions to this. She got something to read the instructions for the assembly. Do it with a Spanish accent, a Mexican accent, a German accent. Put the slot A into the and with the tab B, do not ask any more questions. And everybody, we were just clowning around. Well, Melora was at that party. So this series, Soccer Boy, it was about the World Cup soccer, the history of the World Cup soccer. And they needed people who could do dialects, accents. So Melora kept saying to Steve, you should, bring Richard in for this. And Steve says, I don't want to do that. I don't know if you can do this or not. It takes a certain skill and talent to dub into, and it's expensive, and you don't want to waste people's time by bringing in someone that can't do the work. But eventually, I guess she nagged him enough that he said, all right, I'll bring him in for one day of Walla. Walla is the background voices you hear. Like if we were real quiet right now and you hear all those talking in the background from the convention, that's what they call Walla. It comes from the old days when they used to bring secretaries into the studio on a movie set. Just stand in front of the microphone and just say Walla, 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 peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots. And that'll be the background noise for the party or whatever. So they call that Walla. So I was in there for that, and there were a bunch of guys there who were writers and directors and actors themselves, and I was getting along with everybody, and we were having a good time, and I was pretty good at it. And Steve called me, and he brought me up and said, okay, Richard, I want you to voice this character. It was one line. Not a big deal, I waited. When you were in the studio in those days, you got three beeps, beep, 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 and on the imaginary fourth beep, you started talking. And so I did it, and I didn't realize that Steve was auditioning me at that point. It was one sentence. I had no idea. I probably would have, pooped my pants or something if I realized it. And anyway, that's how I got my start. He liked me, they liked me. Other people said, hey, let's bring him in. And then I got a job over at Saban for this show called Eagle Riders, which was a redo of Gatchaman. And I got that because the original guy they had cast in the role of Hunter, his name was Bob Bergen. He got the voice of Porky Pig, and so he didn't have time to do this. So they had auditions, and I got the part, and I thought it was because I was so great. It turned out, no, I just sounded like him. So that when there were efforts and grunts and groans and things like that, they didn't have to replace that. They just used his voice and mine and together, and that lasted a year and led to other things. And the rest is history.
Wow.
I cannot do Porky Pig. That's elephant. That's
Oh my God.
Derek?
Wow. Segue into how I got into voice acting. Wow, you gave me quite a leap there, my friend. So my mentor for voice acting before I even became a voice actor was Bob Bergen. And he helped me create my first demo tape. Demo tapes at that point in time was like your calling card. It's like your business card. You have to hand them out to producers and casting directors for them to potentially hire you. And Bob invited me so that I can kind of get a feel for what voice acting was like to his last recording session for Eagle Riders before he finished. And that then led me into Hollywood Reporter, which was this magazine that I don't even know if they're still around anymore, are they? They used to have 2 different special booklets that they would put out. Both were for animation, and at that point in time, you actually could see the shows that were going to be in production, what the phone numbers were, what the casting directors' names were, and you could call those people directly. Well, I went through the entire book, I had my demo, I was all excited, and I went through the entire book, and every time that I wanted to try and submit something, everybody would say, no, we don't need you, but thank you very much, you know, we'll keep you in mind. And if you were gonna send me a tape, I'd probably just throw it away. You know, so it's like, I almost was at the point of giving up, and on the very last page, I kid you not, was this ad for Power Rangers. At that point in time, they were not looking at casting anybody. They just had an ad there. So I said, why not? So I called the number. At that point in time, there was a secretary there, very savvy, who worked directly with Scott Page-Pachter, who did all the casting. Her name was Karen Carter. And very sassy African-American lady. And I called the number, and I went through my entire spiel. Hi, this is Derek Stephen Prince. I was hoping, you know, that I might be able to send you a demo tape. I just saw an ad for, you know, your company. I don't know what you guys do. At that point in time, I had no idea what Power Rangers was. And just said, you know, I'm hoping that I might be able to send you something. And then for what seemed to me as an actor, because, you know, I'd been through this process at least 100 times, calling people and everybody saying no, she pauses on the phone for what seemed like an eternity, which was probably only like 10 seconds, and I, you know, trying to be nice about it, said, hi, are you still there? And she goes, would you hang on a second? I'm taking a look at my calendar. I'm going, oh, I'm sorry, okay. And she goes, so, what are you doing next Thursday? I'm going, I don't know why. She goes, well, I was wondering if you'd like to come in and audition for the show called Power Rangers Zeo. Oh. I'm going, wait, you want me to just come in and audition for you? You don't want me to send you a demo tape? And she goes, why do I need to have a demo tape from you when I'm talking to you on the phone and I can hear what you sound like? To which I said, fair enough. And so I went in and I auditioned for Scott and Karen, and that basically was the beginning of my voiceover career, professionally speaking. Scott cast me in my very first role, so.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm hanging out with Bob Bergen.
I wonder if he'll see this panel when it goes online.
No, I wasn't with Bob. I used to do stand-up comedy, and let's see, no, that's not the story. I was going to the Musicians Institute to learn how to play guitar in Hollywood, and I became the spokesman for the school. And when they had someone who was interested in the school, they would send out a video or a DVD. It eventually became DVDs, but it was videos when I was there. And so I was chosen as spokesman for the school. And so I walked around on camera going, Hollywood, California, the entertainment capital of the world. And here in the heart of Hollywood is the Musicians Institute. Let's take a look inside rock performance, you know, and I was doing that kind of stuff. So the very first voiceover thing I did was a voiceover for that video. That was my very first thing. So fast forward, I'm still going to the school. A director from a movie called Rich Girl calls the Musicians Institute and says, I need somebody from the school to come and show my actors, none of which play music, how to look like they're in a rock band playing guitar. So they said, Lex, you're the spokesman for the school, go. So I went there and I'm showing these guys how to do windmills and jump off of, you know, speakers or the risers and things like that. And the director looks at me and goes, you wouldn't happen to be an actor, would you? And I was. I'd been acting my whole life already. And I said, I am, as a matter of fact. He said, okay, you're cast as the lead guitar player. The guy who you were teaching, you're now the keyboard player. And he kept his scene. I didn't steal his scene, but I was now the guitar player. And I met a guy named Bentley Mitchum, who was, speaking of, stars of yesteryear. His grandfather was Robert Mitchum, who who was a very famous actor back in the 50s and 60s, or 40s and 50s maybe. Yeah, anyway, so we became really good friends. I'm fast forwarding as fast as possible on this story. So Bentley was his name. He was doing a movie in Canada called Susie Q. And the girl that played his girlfriend in the movie was a girl named Amy Jo Johnson, who happens to be the Pink Power Ranger. I'm sure you all know that movie. So we went to dinner, and as we were walking home from dinner, I brought up the stand-up comedy thing because in my comedy act, I used to do stand-up comedy, I would do impressions of different people, like Elvis and Jack Nicholson and all these people. So I started doing my comedy act on the walk back. And Amy Jo says, "You'd be a great voice actor." And I was like, I have no idea what a voice actor is. You mean like cartoons? I don't really want to do commercials. I guess I could. And she goes, no. There's like loop groups, and I work on the show Power Rangers, and there's always a monster or somebody that needs to have a voice done for it. So she goes, let me introduce you to Scott Page-Packer, another guy who, so I called and spoke to Karen on the phone. And she said, yeah, Scott, I'll see you on Wednesday or whatever the day was. So I went in and I saw him, and he had me do a bunch of different. He had me do a whole lot of voices, just having fun, and we did impressions and stuff like that. He was a really jovial guy, and he had a really fun sense of humor. And he called me the next week and said, you're in the loop group. And so I was in the Walla group, or loop group they call it. And it's just the voices that are basically running away from the monsters, sitting in the cafes, all the background voices that you really pay no attention to when you're watching the show. And one time, there was an opportunity to play a character named Louis Kaboom. Louis Kaboom! Whatever, I think. He says his name like 25 times. I know he actually says other stuff too, but that's what So that was my very first role as a voice actor, was Louis Kaboom. And then I went on to Turbo, where we played opposite each other, Elgar and Rygog, and I played Larigo, the Little Wizard, and then it was Ecliptor and all that. And then from there I did the voice matching, and then got into some animation where I did some more regular roles, and that's how I started.
Well, my first acting role that I got paid for was doing melodramas for 3 years at Knott's Berry Farm. Like being tied to the railroad tracks, and it was really fun. And Steve Martin actually had worked there a few years before me. So that's kind of where he got started also. But my first voiceover gig, I think, was it was a radio commercial where I played a dog. And then in 1981, that's when I really started doing a lot of voiceover. I answered an ad in Dramalog and started working at this studio that was just, they were putting out these really weird Japanese cartoons that were kind of going out into the wind, and we didn't even know what they were. And I cannot remember what the first one was, but it was probably some version of Frankenstein, or but a Japanese version where they had to cut out a lot of stuff because it was you couldn't show it on TV. But that's pretty much it. And then after that, I just started working all the time for a long time.
Very nice.
I was a Jewish big brother with Bob Bergen. For the first 2 weeks that I was at USC, Bentley Mitchell lived on my floor. So there you go. So to tie it all up, I studied theater. I studied musical theater. I was in New York City, and basically realized that all of the roles that I play in musical theater, I wouldn't play for another 30 or 40 years. By the way, I'm aging into those roles now, so it's almost time to head back to New York. And I basically met a friend of my uncle's who was a DJ on CBS FM in New York. He found out I did impressions and said, would you do some drop-ins for my show? That was my first gig, which led to doing a political parody, The Great Debate of '88. And I think I got that in under a minute and a half.
Beautiful.
Wow. So many great stories and so much mention of Bob Bergen and Scott. And especially since we just lost Scott late last year, it's just nice to honor his memory and keep his spirit alive here since he was a guest at the convention.
If I could just, in his memory, just for all of you, I remember almost every take Scott would be in the director's booth, and he would say, okay, we're going to do this loop now. Try not to suck.
He was very supportive that way. Just so you know. Just so you know.
He had such a dry sense of humor, but
He was a great guy. We had so much fun.
Yeah, plain and simple, this convention would not be here if it wasn't for Scott. And this is our first time here without him, and it's a little awkward. But he would want us to be here, and he'd want us to have fun, he'd want us to smile and tell stories about him, because he had a Cheshire Cat smile. You know, I mean, Lex was absolutely right. He would light up any room he walked into. He was a great director. He taught half of the voiceover community how to scuba. And he was a heck of a musician too, you know. And if you ever got to see him at a Morphicon, consider yourself lucky. And if you never did, just stick around. You'll hear plenty of stories about him, and it'll make you smile.
Well said. And now that we've talked enough about voiceover, let's do some voiceover. Do you guys want to see these guys act and do a script?
Yeah.
We can be a little louder than that. Let's make the other room wish they were in here. Do you guys want to see these people do a script reading? Alright, so I brought scripts. We're going to do what's called a cold reading. It means these people have never seen these scripts before, and tonight we're going to do a 1940s Superman script. Since Richard kept bringing up the 40s. And now I will go and assign the roles, and hopefully people will pass the scripts down. But our narrator for tonight will be played by Neil Kaplan. And Neil, there will be special direction for you with this role. I would like to hear every line in a different voice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, there are more coming. Give me 1 sec. I was just giving Neil his direction. And with a Superman script, you need someone to play Superman, and that will obviously be Lex Lang.
I thought it was going to be Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor is not in the script tonight. He actually isn't. And now playing the roles of our announcer and our American physicist named Archer will be Richard Cancino. And playing the role of our French guide Henry, or Henri, and the role of Robin the Boy Wonder, because there is a little bit of a crossover at the end, is Derek Stephen Prince. Finally, the role of Villager, which is just a Swiss villager with one line, and Jimmy Olsen will be played by Rebecca Forrestat. You can do whatever accent you want.
Like we would know.
Girls, don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode when we begin a brand new and action-packed mystery adventure of Superman with Batman and Robin. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, same time, same station, for Chapter 1 of a new adventure of Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine that is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. This program came from New York, so watch it, I'm walking here. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Superman, Superman, does whatever a super can.
And scene.
So I take it you guys enjoyed that.
That's exactly how they would do it in the 40s.
Exactly. Dead on. We're just about out of time tonight, but I just want to. How many people in here want to do voiceover? Well, let me start by saying, as soon as this panel gets out, and as soon as you get home, go to this website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It was started by D. Bradley Baker. Read it like you would the Bible. It will guide you to your way. And as some final advice from all of our panelists, what are some words of wisdom that you can give out there to anyone who wants to do it?
If you want to be a voice actor, first just be an actor. They'll teach you, styles, things. It's more than just walking up to a microphone. If someone wants you to do something with a Shakespearean flavor to it, you have to know how to do Shakespeare. Learn dialects, accents, and learn how to improvise. That's important. And be an actor. That's my advice. I think Bob Bergen used to get that same advice.
Yes, he did.
Follow your dreams. Be good humans. Keep your feet on the ground and continue reaching for the stars.
That was nice. And also, pursue it because it's something you actually really love to do, and not just because you think it might be something fun as a hobby. It's really, you gotta love acting, you gotta love playing, you gotta love improvising, you gotta really just love the craft of it, and the rest will come, Eventually you'll quit your day job and then you'll go, oh, I have a little extra money too, so it'll be good. Just follow, as he said, your dream. You do it because you love it. If you have something else that you love doing, follow that.
Everything that they said, but I want to give you the reality check is that you have to realize it's not always a predictable kind of job, so you have to have multiple income streams in some way or another, and just realize that, if it's something you want to do as a passion, it's going to take a long time to get to where you want to go, so have a financial plan, because I do.
Don't believe a word she says.
Nobody told me that.
Don't believe her.
And that's when we have porn.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to mention, I was the voice of Diabolico on Lightspeed Rescue, and I was Cluedo in Time Force. I want to point something out. I find it very strange that I run into people all the time that say they want to do voiceover, and they seem to think it's the only art form on the planet that you can only do professionally. If you wanted to paint, you wouldn't sit there and go, well, I'm going to start painting as soon as I get a gallery show. If you wanted to dance, you wouldn't say, well, just cast me in a Broadway show. You would take a dance class, or you would go to a club, or you would just put on some music and dance. If you wanted to act, you don't have to be a professional actor. You can join your local community theater. If you want to voice act, you have this brilliant, wonderful thing that we old farts didn't have called the internet. Go ahead and do your own voice acting. Why does it have to be that you have to pursue it as a job? Because I got to tell you, at this point, if you want to pursue it as a job, you probably have about a 1 in a billion chance. Plain and simple.
Do a podcast.
Don't believe a word he says. No.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Because it's a shoo-in. It's easy. Because let's face it, all the new talent that we work with doesn't come from television or movies. You want to do voiceover, it's simple. Just become a TV star. You want to do voiceover, it's easy. Just become a movie star. Look at Tiffany Haddish. She's doing voiceover left and right. Look at The Rock. He's doing voiceover left and right. And my colleagues can go ahead and say I'm being a downer. I'm being honest. Okay? If you love it, then do it, and it shouldn't necessarily be about having it as a job. I have friends who have been playing music since they were in high school. They have very nice jobs up in the Bay Area, and they pay their mortgages by being computer scientists. But I'll tell you, every time they go out and do a show, they sound fantastic. And everybody who's sitting there and listening to them play considers them musicians on par with everybody else on the planet. Okay? I grew up watching community theater actors that were some of the best actors I've ever seen. So just because I say don't do it professionally, I'm not saying don't do it without integrity. Okay? Do it with integrity. But what Becky was saying, one of the things that will shoot you in the foot, if this is something that you're actually pursuing, one of the things that'll kick your ass quicker than anything else is needing the job, wanting the job. I can't tell you how many times I read on message boards, people going, but I don't want to study for years. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a demo. Well, then don't. Then don't. And while you're at it, swim to England without a boat. You don't need one. You can make it, sure, go for it. I don't care. You know, I want to be honest with you guys. The fact of it is, before we got into the industry, voiceover was the ass end of Hollywood. The people who were doing Super Friends were doing Super Friends because they couldn't get jobs on camera. Somewhere it turned around where now it's all they want to do. Because realistically, we get to have the funnest jobs in the world when we get to have them. You know? We get to be Batman without getting in the spandex. You know? And I'll tell you.
I like the spandex.
I do get in spandex when I go to the...
Well, but you don't have to.
I don't. Okay.
And also you wear the spandex for other jobs too. Don't you?
I do.
There you go.
You know, Cortex, I wear the...
So what I would say is if it's something you really want to do, create something. Take a page out of Seth MacFarlane's book. Create something. Make it such a hit on YouTube, on TikTok, on wherever, that when Hollywood knocks on your door, you say, yeah, I'll sell it to you, but I'll play in the lead. Do what Stallone did. That's what he did with Rocky. That's what Seth MacFarlane did. Create your own thing. You have the internet. You can create your own animated feature and have 10,000 people see it. And in a world of 7 billion people, that's less than a drop in the bucket. But you as a creator, if you create something that 10,000 people see and like, you're pretty freaking happy. So maybe don't look at the old way of looking at voice acting. Create your own thing. That's my suggestion.
I just want to say,
I believe that one.
for those of you who are, and I've said this to people, if you really cannot be happy doing anything else but acting or voice acting or any kind of acting, then you will end up doing it. If you find anything else in your life that makes you as happy as acting, you'll end up doing that full time. And you'll do the acting part as a hobby. It's just the way it's going to work out, and you'll have a great life either way, hopefully. That's my advice.
And as Becky was saying, you know, just know that as a voice actor, your real job, the thing you do the most is audition for parts and not get them. And you get really lucky. I don't know what the percentage is, 1%, 10% of the time, if that, 0.002% of the time, and you'll get a job. Every month that you start your month, most of the time, your month is empty ahead of you. And then you look back and go, oh, I had all these jobs. I got to act in all these different things that turned out to be jobs. So just know that, you know, it's not just like once you become a voice actor, oh, I'm just going to be booking jobs 4 or 5 times a week and just do it nonstop. I'll book everything I audition for. You really are going to be an auditioner that acts. The fact of it is, Frank Welker started playing Teenage Freddy in Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? In 1969. He's still playing Teenage Freddy. We're all in line behind Frank. The fact of it is that if they were to remake Thelma and Louise, Brad Pitt couldn't play the 20-something hustler. He would have to play the FBI guy. However, if you can still do the voice at the age of 70, whatever, you can still do it. That's another reason we love this art form. You know, so it's not like the competitions, it's not like we're going anywhere. So you want to jump in the pool with us? Go ahead. Give it a try.
That's a great note to end the panel on. So join
Oh, gold down.
There'll be a wrestling match. The winners get voiceover work.
God, if that's how it works.
Awesome.
If only that's how it works.
It's kind of like a big, it's kind of like a giant building that has escalators that go to each floor. When you walk in the building, there are already people that are on the escalators on all the different floors way ahead of you, but you have the opportunity to get on that bottom floor and get on an escalator of your own and keep progressing in your own career. And then people will be getting on the escalator behind you, and you'll have to see the different generations. Like, you know, it used to be where when we were the new people getting onto Power Rangers, we were sort of the new fresh generation, and then after 15 years, we noticed a whole new generation coming up behind us, but we were already a couple levels up in that building. And that's basically how it works, you know, and so we can look up, and that building may not even have a ceiling to it, but we can look up and see Frank Welker at the top there, at one of the high levels of that building, but he's still riding the escalators upward, as are we, as will you be if you get into the craft.
Yeah, baseball, Hall of Fame baseball players get into the Hall of Fame if they fail 7 times out of 10.
You know, I've been working as a...
Actors are, it's like if you get in a job, out of 1 out of 20 auditions, no, not submissions. I mean for voice work, yeah.
These days, try close.
Voice work is like, oh my God, 1,000, 1 out of 1,000.
I've been working as a social media influencer at 68 years old, right? And there's so much that you can do in that space. And now even the Screen Actors Guild has opened up to social media influencers. So I work with brands, and, you know, like doing little things on Instagram and stuff. And I can create my own videos and, you know, do stuff on YouTube. I mean, there's just so much out there you can do on your own. And you can, some people, you know, make a ton of money doing it too. So, and you're using your voice, you're using your talent. You know, there's a lot of options.
That's a good note.
Yes, that's the good note to end the panel on. So join me in thanking Richard Cancino, Derek Stephen Prince, Gladys Kane, Rebecca Forrester, and Neil Kaplan for joining Show Your Voice Actors. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your Power Morphicon.
Thanks to Jeff Burns.
Thanks for coming.
And thanks to all of you. Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.